Okay, so I was gonna do a post and write it on my Facebook page or whatever, but I just decided to make a video of it. And it's I don't look. I told you guys before. Yesterday, I just came to a full awakening that I'm not trying to speak to gang stalkers. Y'all better stop. Y'all better stop. And you see clearly that people that are getting gang stalked, that are empaths or whatever, especially those who haven't been gang stalked that long, like years for other people. When you sit up there and you're like stop or blah 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 trying to explain God's word to them, it's the empath and the God in you that's explaining it. Because remember, you're talking to people that are trying to drive you crazy, throwing black magic at you, throwing every which way, trying to make you lose your status, lied on you, doing all this stuff or whatever, and constantly pestering and bothering you every day. But the God in you is trying to tell them. It's not that you're just trying to tell them to stop. It's like you still trying to give them word because you know the gang stalkers are looking. But I told you guys before yesterday, I gave it up. The gang stalkers, they're not going to be able to be saved. This is one thing I just want to say. Now, y'all know, or some people don't know, whatever. People can think whatever they want to think. Now, when you do stuff like when you try to hide somebody's account or you try to stop the views and make it seem like nobody's looking, or you try to hide the truth or whatever, and you know, you can see by my posts, even when I post pictures like Kim Kardashian or the woman with the big butt, even if, I mean, they can think of any little excuse to keep me out, talking about nudity, whatever. It's a whole bunch of stuff on Facebook. People are part of these little groups that do porn and stuff on Facebook, and people post all kinds of gang signs all the time on their pictures, but they gonna get mad at me and block me off for 3 days for posting the picture when I'm trying to teach about what the gang signs means. But anyway, this is my point. When you try to hide the truth or whatever, it's strict judgment for that and harsh karma, and it really could result in your death or whatever, especially if you were warned several times and you haven't stopped. And this is the reason why I'm going to try to say this as simple as possible. And I'm not talking to the gang stalkers. I'm talking to the people that's going through this, so you don't just think that God is just a harsh God. He just letting you go through all this stuff. Now, this life is a spiritual test. I told you guys this before. We have to go through things like spiritual tests, people coming against us to see how we will react, how strong we are. Because remember, God's prophets have to be warriors or whatever. We have to learn to. God is using us or whatever. So we have to be strong. We have to keep on going through stuff until we finally wake up and learn. Oh no, I don't play no more. All that nice stuff. Yes, we still have a loving kind heart, but it's like we can't just go around just saving everybody or trying to forgive everybody. It's not about that, because God is not looking at it like this, at this situation like that, especially against the enemies when he can see everything that you can't see. But anyway, let me say what I was going to say. Now, when it's a spiritual test, this world, so everything that people do or whatever is used for a purpose to show the true character. Now, when you try to hide the truth or whatever, the reason why it's harsh judgment for that is because people have to be presented with the truth and a lie in order to distinguish between the two. If all they're giving is lies and illusions, especially like fake prophets in church and stuff like that, and nobody's really saying the real truth, then God can't judge them accordingly, because you have to be able to be presented with the truth and still choose to go with the lie. So when you try to cover up the real truth, it's like you trying to hide God. And that's like I'm trying to give it an example. It's like God came down here to say the 10 Commandments or whatever, teach everybody. They made the Bible, even though the Bible has been edited and taken out, a lot of stuff is true, but that's like somebody throwing away all the Bibles. And they kill all the prophets, so nobody ever hears about God or whatever. So it's kind of like, if this world is just a test to test your character to see where you're going to go, if you take away the real prophets or you take away people that's speaking the truth, then it's just like the whole world is going to be blind. And where to test it? To test your character to see if you're going with good or evil. You see why my point or whatever when I say it's like very strict judgment for that? Harsh karma. And this is another thing I just want to say. When you keep working against somebody or whatever as a prophet, when you keep working against somebody, you see what somebody came through, and you can tell if somebody's a real prophet by the way they carry themselves. Anybody can act like they're a prophet. Anybody can act like they're an empath. Anybody, you will be able to tell, because it will be like, oh my gosh. And it's not just me. It's a lot of people that people just can't believe what come out of their mouth. Well, how do they know that? But it's God and guardian angels that's working through us that's to tell me certain things or whatever, to speak to the public. Because other than that, it's like, how would you know that or whatever unless you have a being with you? And it's other people that have beings with them that tell them stuff, but that doesn't mean that they're a person of God. You have to really learn how to use your discernment in these last days, because many people have God's name in their mouth, but they won't be a God. When you're enlightened, you'll be able to see it or whatever. So we'll just say that. But yeah, it's like, I'm trying to give an example that constantly gang stalking and come against a person, trying to make them lose their stability, doing all this stuff, going hard against a person or whatever. And it's not even about speaking now, because people can talk whatever. But when you do certain things like leave a person for dead, and I'm not just talking about the narc, I'm talking about family members or whatever, and you constantly working against that person in the background, when you constantly working against that person in the background and stuff like that, that's like me going to see a girl and I know she just don't have no real good self-esteem or whatever. She been abused so bad, so I decide I'm gonna take advantage of her or whatever, and then I'm gonna kill her or whatever, and then I go and I shoot her in the head, and me and a whole bunch of people, we just stab her, and then we make up a whole lie saying that she deserved to get stabbed and shot in the head or whatever because she tried to actually come after us and kill us, so it was in self-defense or whatever. That, or whatever the story they made up, that's like that. And then I just go and live my life like normal, and then I rise up and I look on the internet, or I see this girl, she's going, I survived this, I survived that or whatever, God saved me and stuff like that. And I'm seeing her say stuff, it's like a whole new person that I just couldn't believe. Not that she was ever a bad person, she just was insecure and didn't know who she was or whatever. But I know what I did, so to cover it up, I'm still gonna try to lie and come after her and try to attempt to kill her again. But God, every little trap that I throw, God keep rising her out of it. So if you see that, that's why I say demons are stupid. If you see that right before your eyes and you see a big change, then you know God is working through that person, so you're working against God. So that means that you're a devil if you don't clearly see that. Even if you're okay with it, it's certain laws that you're not supposed to cross. When you keep going, I'm talking to them again. Excuse me. To the people that's going through this, when they keep going, I just told you, all they're doing is building up their karma enough to finally be wiped off of this earth or whatever. God ain't pleased. He know people watching my page and just see, and it's just not just me. He just seeing it and then seeing them deductive views or make it look like nobody's listening. They know what they're doing or whatever, but you can't hide from God. And another thing I want to say, God does certain things or whatever so that you can see the truth of your family members. So when judgment day does come, you don't cry when a lot of them go to hell or whatever. You have to learn how to be tough. You'll notice when you be by yourself for a while, you start noticing the truth about people, you stop giving a damn.